Hello everybody and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be looking and ranking the offensive tackles in the 2025 NFL draft, which yes, the draft is long ways away, but the grind never stops here, and let's hop right into the video. And at number 1, we have Texas offensive tackle Kelvin Banks. He plays on the left side heading into his junior season, and he's listed at 6'4", 324 pounds. Let's hop right into what he does well. Out of everyone I've watched, I think he moves like really well, whether it's like a quick combo block, like getting up to one, hitting a guy, you know, shuffling back, hitting another, or just even getting to the second level and making a block further down the field in the run game. I really like the way that he moves. I wouldn't say he's like especially light on his feet, but he just does what's needed. The movement's there. It's subtle. It's a strength of his for sure. He has a really good anchor and can absolutely stop guys in their tracks on some of his reps, and you'll see it sometimes against more power rushers is when you'll see like the anchor really stand out, and some of the guys in this class weren't so great. But when it came to Kelvin Banks, he can hold anyone, like I said, stop them in their tracks. And in the run game, I don't think the blocking is like crazy or super special, or he's like a people mover or anything like that, but he's very solid, and that's still impressive. I don't care what you kind of look at. He's a great pass protector, and then does the task at hand in the run game. Like I said, not special. It's not like he's Talise Fuwunga, but it's still very impressive what he does in the run game. Now we'll talk about the one big knock on him that I had written down here. He likes to play with some of the higher hands. Most guys try to grab into the chest or like the armpit area somewhere here, and to get the hands inside, kind of dictate from there. But he prefers to grab onto the shoulder pad and almost hug instead of dictating from the inside and keeping that within the shoulders there and holding him. He prefers to kind of reach out and grab it, and this can also lead to some holding penalties as well, or some, you know, holding or close to holding penalties. I don't know, like, I don't know if he'd change this up. I don't know if he'd try it the other way, but just something I noticed, like his hand usage, I don't know if it was good or bad, or if it works for him, or why he does it, but it was a little bit different, and to me it was a little bit of a noteworthy con of his game. But overall, he's got it all and checks a lot of boxes. I don't see why he'd regress in 2024. I think it's only uphill from here, and he's already really good. He's good here, and he can only go up, no down, and he's already my offensive tackle 1 in a tier of his own. And at number 2, it's LSU tackle Will Campbell, also heading into his junior year. He's a little bit taller, 6'6", 320. Utilizes his hands and arms a lot. He can stay strong and hold up versus some power moves that involve punching, swiping, or just working his hands in general. You see some guys maybe attack the outside shoulder. He's good at, you know, reaching out there and then putting his hands in the right place, and to the point where you kind of neutralize there, and then some power moves on the inside. Someone's trying to go through him, the way that he can knock their hands, or just in general, again, the hands and then the arms a lot with the reach and whatnot. Hand placement was good most of the time, and the way he was able to get inside and dictate some of the blocks was more involved than others. And I don't mean like he was better than others. I just think he was a little bit more up in their face, and then, like I said, a little bit more involved, just right here, dictate, and then kind of just, you know, hang out. He just stays there. He's not getting out of control. It's not like they're still driving him backwards. Just did a good job, again, neutralizing, and the way that a tackle would, you know, anchor down, and you're trying to stop the guy. And Will Campbell did a great job doing that when his hand placement was good, and the way he was able to dictate some of the contact inside with his hands. Shows good reach and good strength. If he needs to recover outside or someone creates an outside angle on him, Campbell was able to neutralize an edge with one arm reached out while gathering himself and work towards the defender. You know, you have a guy that's attacking outside, it's really like good speed rush or whatever, gets the jump on him, and so okay, he has to get him with one arm, and then was able to hold him here while he gathers the rest of his body, his legs, his chest, and like his hips, and kind of shuffle back to get to the counterpoint there. So you have a guy that's attacking outside, and then you have to stop him to let the rest of you get over there where your arm is holding the guy or said rusher, right? So I guess that's a kind of a complex way of saying he was good with reach, and again, the strength outside was something that stood out as well. But when he didn't get great hand placement early, he was easily pushed back with power, and he was easily manipulated by defenders' hands as well. You know, you start to kind of lose the hand placement, or your hands get swatted and you're still shuffling back. They get a little bit closer to you. You have a tough time with power. Either he gets pushed back, or like I said, manipulated by the defender's hands, you know, long arm or something like a swipe move, even when you're in close quarters, can be quite dangerous. So someplace I saw Campbell maybe struggle a little bit. Definitely got caught out at times. He would show his hands and extend like a tad early. The rusher would recognize that and take advantage. It's a tackle thing. You flash your hands, you snap and you're up here, and then the second you go to lunge, maybe that gets taken advantage of if you're like too early, or you're guessing wrong, or you're lunging at them instead of, you know, dropping back in your kick step. Sure, he flashed a good anchor, but definitely got worked at times, mostly against some speed to power, some sort of pure power rush. Again, things like the tackle's job is to neutralize and to hold them there. So when you're getting like gunned at, you need to be able to anchor down and hold them in their spot. But instead, there's times where, you know, speed to power, guys got a lot of stuff built up, or a lot of power, speed, whatever the hell, you know, speed to power is, it drives him backwards and he can't quite get a hold on it. And then, like I said, just some pure power rushes. We saw some struggles there as well with Will Campbell. A tad bit inconsistent for my liking, but I can see the upside, and I can see why you bet on him, and definitely someone that can trend towards that offensive tackle one, and someone I kind of watched him against Dallas Turner. Cool, he didn't really struggle as much as he did with Chris Braswell, which is a little bit of an issue as well when you look at, you know, even draft capital in the NFL draft this last year. Those are two Alabama pass rushers, and one was a first-round pick, and I believe Braswell was a mid-second, something like that. He just seemed to struggle against some of that power, and like I said, a little inconsistent for my liking in terms of ranking-wise. That's why Kelvin Banks finds himself in a tier of his own up there, and Will Campbell a tier of his own in the second tier. And it'll be Arizona's right tackle, Jonah Savaiinaea. I'm not sure if that's how you say or pronounce it, but he will be opening the third tier. He is a junior as well, the third junior on this list, 6'5", 335 pounds, a little bit bigger, and he plays on the right side and even played a little bit of right guard. We're talking about a guy where the run game is where he makes his money. He can dictate a block, he can move with guys, but more importantly, just move guys. He's a people mover, he's a people pusher, and he gets guys out of the way, and like I said, makes his money in the run game. I think he displays a lot, honestly, and just never really puts it all together and shows consistency play in and play out. One play, he'll shuffle back, whoa, movement's really nice. Next play, boom, he has a nice punch early on, and you like that, but they're never really together. And like I said, consistency play in and play out. Every rep looks the same. It's not quite that. I just think there's flashes and, like I said, displays quite a lot. He has some power that could be a little eye-opening on some of his reps, and I kind of question why he can't show it on a down-to-down basis. And sure, there's still like a sense of, like I keep talking about, like an anchor where you need to be able to harness that up, but there's still times where I'm saying there's some reps where it's definitely better or looks more significant than other reps where he's just kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's instead of, I don't know where that analogy went, but basically just shoving people. And like I said, eye-opening power showed up. I just don't know why it wasn't more eye-popping on more of his plays. Majority of the bad with him comes against speed rushers and pass rush moves, attacking his outside shoulder, something he wasn't quite able to rebuttal from, or whatever you want to say. Something that he just struggled against was getting attacked towards that outside, like I said, outside shoulder specifically, and mostly against some of that quick speed twitch, you know, firing off the edge. Flashes quick moves and the ability to mirror a little, but when it comes to bend or someone stretching around him, he doesn't really have an answer. And this kind of comes again with twitch or just even reaction, getting off the line and someone's attacking his outside shoulder. He needs to, you know, kick back, and okay, he was maybe a step slower and the guy's already getting around him. And at that point, he finds himself very vulnerable to a lot of different scenarios. So Jonah Savaiinaea, like I said, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. The floor is a little lower, and I've seen the weaknesses. I just like the upside he has with the power and the movement skills he flashes. Also, is pretty solid in the run game on top of that, and I like that he has played guard and has experience there as well. The other LSU tackle finds himself fourth on this list, Emery Jones Jr. playing on the right side, another junior, and he's also a little bit bigger at 6'6", 322. And I think the two-step agility is really good. The way he can shadow and just hold the defender while the defender's moving is very fun to watch. And the way I kind of talk about this, right? You take your little kick step and you're back, you're in your set, and then you have the guy, and then boom, he swipes your hands and tries to go around you, but instead he's right there to mirror and has those quick feet, and like I said, some of the agility to move with him and then move the defender while, you know, they're moving around, and he's like still just kind of right there with them and doing a little dance with him. Flash some really good hand placement and mix that with the upper body effort, and he was able to shut down some guys here and there. And I think what I mean by this, when you talk about like upper body effort and then you talk about the good hand placement, you go back and then all of a sudden the guy's like coming up and then boom, you're able to hold them here. But with that power, the upper body that you've put the emphasis from your shoulders, arms, hands, and you're just like kind of pushing into him, he had the ability to just shut guys down right where they were, stop them exactly where they stand. I thought he was solid in the run game, not a people mover, not a dominant lineman, but pretty solid. I think we talked about the same thing with like Kelvin Banks, where it's not like special, you're not moving people, you're not, you know, picking people up and throwing them out of the way like they're garbage, but just solid and gets the job done. Now, I do think he struggled against some of the stunt rushes. He wasn't really aware and couldn't recover or get back in time to catch some of the reps he saw against some, you know, like I said, stunt rushes. I think he's got a good enough anchor, but when he sees speed to power, just pure power moves, there's times he's just along for the ride and gets kind of swept up, if you will, maybe caught out. I don't really know, but like I said, a good enough anchor, but when he sees a little bit extra emphasis or some dominant sort of power, that's when you could really see him struggle. He overreaches and puts too much into his blocks and with his upper body, and I kind of talked about the upper body effort he gives, and there's just some reps where he had no chance because he was so far forward, or just like I said, maybe overreaches and extends a little. And like most of these guys, he might have a slight tendency to hold on and grab a little too tight for a little too long, and it comes out on tape and you're like, and then you kind of wait for the flag, and sometimes it comes and sometimes it doesn't. For Emery Jones, I think the good was great and the bad was fixable. I have some questions about the overall strength, but if he fixes some stuff up, he can hold up a lot stronger and definitely hold up better for longer durations of time. Next on this list is Oregon right tackle Ajani Cornelius. He is a senior, I believe the first senior we were talking about. He's listed at 6'5", 308, maybe a little bit thinner, and standing an inch smaller than Emery Jones. Great arm and hand usage when he starts to kind of lose outside and grapple back and reach inside, and sometimes even stop the defender completely or just get into a spot where he can recover really well. He could really make stuff happen in the run game when there wasn't really a loaded box or multiple defenders he had to worry about, when it was just kind of straight up, you know, maybe chip the edge or get him out of the way and then maybe move up to a nick or a linebacker or something like that. It was just pretty easy when it wasn't a real congested situation for him. And probably the most important thing, I don't think he ever really got overpowered, like straight up just like bull rush and oh my god, how did he lose that? There was none of that. Ajani Cornelius held up really well against power and was able to match some of the power he saw out of edge rushers he was going against. Now, I do think he played from behind a bit. I kept taking notes and like, whoa, good recoveries, before I realized like his kick step was just slow and he had to recover more often. I don't know how I kind of like registered in my brain, but I was like, oh, that's a good recovery. Oh, okay. He recovers really well. And I kind of kept doing that whole dance for a game or two. And then I'm like, well, he's just starting from behind. He doesn't really get off the line real well then, huh? And he's not really great against a running start, which kind of talks about it here with the recoveries and whatnot. The speed and power can catch him out with a running start. You know, someone comes up and tries to get through his pads, and then once he started kind of leaning into that, they can like kind of shrug him off, or they can just speed around him, get past his outside shoulder and try to make a play that way. Ajani Cornelius, one of the older dudes we talk about, I'm pretty sure has like a really fun story if you guys want to go look that up, but definitely a solid tackle. And I kind of like this tackle class, because even this far down depth wise, I'm still quite a fan of Ajani Cornelius. In Ohio State's Josh Simmons is next up, and he actually has experience at both left tackle and right tackle, but primarily a left side guy. Another junior, and he's 6'5", 310, similar to Ajani Cornelius. He mirrors guys really well once he's set and ready to deal with the power or adjust his speed. He has both of that aspect. You know, you look at a power rusher and a speed rusher, it's not like he can't deal with either or has a weakness there. Just once he's ready to take on whatever he's going to see, whether it's speed or power, he's ready to deal with what he's going to be looking at pretty much. And like I said, once he's set and ready, he can kind of deal with anything. Nice, strong anchor. He was standing interior guys up on some of the plays I watched. He couldn't lose to power moves. Like, again, talked about with Ajani Cornelius. I don't think he ever really got, like, stood up. Similar here to Josh Simmons, where he was even, you know, looking at 320-pound linemen and just, you know, holding him there and, you know, maybe fighting a little bit more, and then power moves didn't really seem to do a number on him. He loves the pads. Once you get past his outside shoulder, he'll give you a nice warm bear hug to try to recover, and that leads to a few things, whether he's reaching, like, it's just a very vulnerable state, I guess, when you're right here and then all of a sudden you're out here, like, he's just gonna, you know, drape onto you, try to get you, and that leaves him open to a lot of different things, if not a penalty. He's a guy that could be straight or beat straight off the snap. He loses that first step and just can't recover at times, and you don't know, like, left tackle material, you know, you don't really know, because I think they're supposed to be a little bit more mobile. When he's in his back pedal or just sliding back in general, like just sliding, you know, left to right, back, whatever, he can't really keep an anchor, so he kind of loses that power to the ground and gets pushed at times. Obviously, it's not like it happens every time he's on the move, but, you know, some guys, you know, stand back, or they're getting back into their set, and boom, they're gonna try to, you know, punch, I guess, and keep them at a distance until they're ready. But for him, he really needs to, like, anchor down and receive what he's gonna be receiving power wise, but he doesn't really hold a lot of power when he's on the move because he can't really set his feet, and I don't know, you know, where that leaves, like, his upper body strength, but just maybe something to work on. He's more of a power presence at tackle. He can push guys around at will and actually moves pretty well too. I just worry about some of the stuff when you talk about moving back and getting beat off the line. Just a few things to worry, but still pretty young and a lot he can work on. I look for Josh Simmons to be someone we talk about through the course of the draft process, heading to the 2025 NFL draft close to a year from now. We'll have Georgia's redshirt sophomore left tackle Earnest Greene III next up here, a little bit smaller, 6'4", 320 pounds. And I'll tell you one thing, if I were a running back, I'd run behind Earnest Greene III. He clears a path and can throw smaller guys aside, kind of keep those little pests out of the way while I'm running behind him. Just seems to be easier. He can move guys, and like I said, clears some of those paths. Plays with a strong but also kind of witty, I guess, base. He can still push guys around, maybe get some knockback while adjusting or backpedaling faster against some speed. Kind of deals with a lot, and especially, you know, Georgia, they see a lot of decent competition, to say the least, right? So still push guys, maybe get, like I said, a little bit of knockback, you know, whether or not it's inflicting some of that and adjusting, and like I said, maybe even getting back against speed or anchoring down a little bit better, matching some of that. Like I said, quick and witty sort of base. And those were my two positives on him, and we'll move to the cons here. He needs to watch out for holding calls. I know every college tackle holds, but it looks second nature for Greene, and something he struggled with. Another thing he struggled with, his hands and arms being extended. The worst reps I saw were him against some sort of swipe or like hand shuck move, or a move like similar to that or of that same nature, where, oh, my hands are out here, take advantage of them, I'm giving you free will at that point to just bloop and pop them out of the way and get through the pads or get around. I don't think he's really an NFL style left tackle. He's a bit short and a little stumpy, and that's like pretty cruel. But when you look at NFL tackles, they don't really look like Earnest Greene. Though I do think Greene is a solid pass blocker and a guy that can clear lanes for a running back to run and follow through. Still pretty young, has a long way to go. And I can't wait to see how he takes on another year at Georgia against some higher level competition. I'll be watching and keeping tabs on his development, I guess, over the next year. Another Oregon tackle. This one plays on the left side. It is Conerly Jr. He's listed at 6'4", 305. A little bit of the smaller side. The best pass protection reps for Conerly is the one-on-one with no stunts, no unexpected movements, nothing like that. He keeps his hips square and his feet moving. Just something that you need to see from someone, and something like he kind of reassured. Like the best ones were the just straight up one-on-one, like I said, no stunts or unexpected stuff going on, and just kept his body right. I would say he was a positive run blocker, you know, more effective in the run game more than he wasn't, and someone that you know, wasn't overly special, someone that was, you know, kind of meh, but there was less bad than there was good. Guess what I'm trying to say? He had some clean combo blocks. It looked very natural and routine for him to, you know, take his 3 steps, deal with one, and push him up, and then get to the other. Whatever you want to, you know, look at for Josh Conerly. A combo block's a combo block, and it, like I said, looked good for him. Fluid, easy routine, all the other words you can use there. I thought he was pretty inconsistent everywhere. I can't look at one thing and say he is bulletproof in that facet of the game, and that's probably a reason he is a little bit further down for me. When he lost sync with his feet, or when he loses his hips, things get a little out of control. That is pretty general, but I guess when you start to kind of lose, like I said, sync with his feet or his hips, or something's here and he's supposed to be here, you know, things one another, gets beat around the corner, or someone dips back inside, or someone powers through him. He just kind of loses when he loses some of the sync with in the tune of his body, I guess. Outside rushes mixed with some sort of speed, like a rip move or chop move, weren't really great for him, and he lost a lot when he's extended outside. You know, someone's gunning around him, and all of a sudden you pull a rip move out, and then he's kind of deflected and they get out around him. Or like I said, some sort of chop move where his hand's getting batted down, and then he can't really do anything, gets beat outside again. He got beat every way, just not every rep. He shows some signs of promise or improvements, and just needs to refine a few things, keep consistency up, and maybe improve a little bit. Maybe take 2 years at Oregon, play out your junior season, and then maybe not declare, maybe work on that a little bit more if it's not good enough. But if he makes some strides, I can see him jumping up this list. Last name we'll name is Clemson's Blake Miller, right tackle. He is a junior, another junior, and he's actually quite big, 6'6", 310. And we'll hop right into the good here. He has his personal bubble, and when you step in there, he'll keep you there. And it kind of ties into the next one, where we'll talk about like the close combat, and it was kind of his specialty. It didn't really get exploited in a phone booth, or, you know, he's right there, and like I said, kind of had his personal bubble. When you're in there, he's got you. He's pretty big, lengthy, whatever you want to say, and then he's got some power to him, and he can keep you in there if you know, fall into that trap. And the pros were short-lived on Blake Miller's little scouting report here. So we'll hop into the cons, and I think he oversets and pursues. He prefers to bring the party to the defender instead of vice versa, and something that really got him a couple times a game, if not more, like a few times a game. He just seemed to you know, be a little yippy and want to go to them. Now, it could be scheme related, but there's definitely plays where he looks lost or doesn't block a soul, or both. He just looks lost and doesn't block a soul. It's confusing. I don't know why. I don't get it. Like I said, could be scheme related. Don't want to, you know, throw too much shade at it, but it's peculiar, however you say that word. The simple spin move, the speed chop, and you know, speed in general is enough to get around Miller. He definitely got worked against faster and more agile rushers, some with, you know, more bend or quicker feet. He definitely struggled against, and like I said, it just needs a little bit of speed in there, and you can beat Miller. He never really got to the right spots in space, you know, on pulling block or screen plays. He never got out front and had that speed to take care of a linebacker, and then maybe a third level defender that's crashing down, whether it's just safety, whatever it is. He never really got there. I mean, he had some nice plays where it's like a pull block and he's getting to an edge rusher, but that's different than getting out in space and making a play against maybe a quicker linebacker or nickel defender, corner, all of the defenders on the other side of the ball. He plays with power. That's his specialty. He can be worked around and might struggle with his hands here and there, and like I said, struggles with speed. Well, that's it. Pretty brief video, but got the offensive tackles done. Next summer scouting rankings you guys should see is probably interior offensive line. And then I just got done watching the interior defensive linemen as well. So that will probably be coming to you guys somewhat soon as well. If you guys have any other ideas you guys would like, video related, let me know down in the comments. I'll make sure to keep tabs on that. And yeah, again, that'll be all from me. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, go down, subscribe, go watch the past content on the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.